In this video, we're going to see who can make better drum and bass, myself or AI. Before we get into the video, if you could just smash that like button, it would be much appreciated. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to get AI to create ourselves a drum and bass track, and then I'm going to try and create a drum and bass track, and then at the end we'll compare both and see which one sounds better. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create some lyrics. Now to do this, I'm going to use ChatGPT, and I'm just going to type a message to it. So I'm going to ask it to write me a set of drum and bass lyrics for my new dance floor drum and bass track themed around space and the cosmos. And then because I know ChatGPT sometimes makes it a little bit cringy, let's ask it, do not make the lyrics cringy, please. And then let's make it 2 verses long. Make it 2 verses long. Okay, so it's given us a verse, a chorus, and a chorus. So let's copy this. And then we're going to go to our AI tool, and it's called suno.com, as you can see at the top here. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just a website I found, and I thought it was pretty cool. So first of all, what we're going to do is go to create, and then you'll have to make an account and sign up, which I've already done. And then we're going to go with this custom mode, and I'm going to paste the lyrics into here and then generate the lyrics. So that'll generate the lyrics, and then the style of music here, we're going to put dance, floor, drum, and bass. And then we do create. So that will create 2 tracks. So let's listen to what they sound like. That sounds pretty cool. What does this one sound like? Okay, so that sounds pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is just go through and create a few different other versions, and then I'm going to decide on my favorite one. Okay, so this was actually really hard to pick because so many are so good, but I think I'm going to go with this one. So let me just play it for you. To me, this has got the most memorable hook, and I think it could work really well as an overall track. So let's now try and go over to FL Studio and see if I can do a better job than AI has done on this track. Now I've got a track I want to go with. I can literally just come to here and download the audio, and that'll download here. And then I can drag it into my DAW, which I've done here. And then on FL Studio, you can come to here and then you can extract stems from sample. I decided to extract the drums and the instruments and the vocals. Then you just click that, and then it gave me this, this, and this. And I was able to first work on the drums. So what I'd do is use this as a reference track, and then I'd create my own down here. So let's look through the drums first. So I used both Chaos Collection and the Drum and Bass Collection Pack, which are both available on my website. And I used this kick here, and I used an EQ on the kick as well. And this automates. So it starts out cutting out the low end for the first 8 bars, and then it brings it in for the second 8 bars, just to build some tension. So it's really simple. The kick drum just hits every other beat, but then the second one is off beat by half, like this. And then we have a snare, and this snare I actually just took straight from this drum here. So this plays like this when it's extracted. So all I did was chop out this snare and put it here, and then I get a 3 snare sample, and it sounds like this. And then I added in some hi-hats, and then a second hi-hat, and it gets that sound. And that's the intro done. So this just plays, and then the kick comes in louder. And then right before the drop, there's a 1 bar pause. This is the pre-drop bit, and what I've done is I've added one of my breaks in from Chaos and gradually filtered it in and chopped it up a little bit. It's just gradually filtering in to give it that cool effect. And then we go into the drums on the drop, and we've kept some of the same elements, but that kick drum that was in the intro, what we've done is we've EQ'd it even more. So if we go here, this turns on, and this becomes the highs of the kick drum, and then we've layered it with this fatter kick drum in the drop, which sounds a bit like this. So the light one here, when this is turned on, with the lowered layer. And we've actually got this from Chaos Loop 11, and then I've chopped the loop up, just because it helps me sometimes brainstorm ideas and layer drums if it's not sounding fat enough. So we've got the layered kick drum with the already added sounds from the intro. And then we've got the snare from the intro, but we've layered it with the clap from this loop just to give it more oomph. And then we've added another hi-hat here to give it even more layering. And again, this is from that loop. And then what I've done is added some tops. So I've added a percussion loop here. And then I've added another top loop completely in stereo to get this. And then we've got some percussion loop over the top. And then it gets those really layered drums, which sound really good with a bass over the top and the vocals. And then after 16 bars, we have this little transition here, which is basically just this kick drum added in here, and then a little sort of build up kick drum with some EQ on here. And then we add the breaks back in as well. And then it repeats itself. So what I did basically was copy this formula as much as I can, and then add in what I think would make it sound even better. And then I did the mix down on it, of course. And then here I added some satin on the drum bus and a Pro L as well, just to control the volume range. So the intro instruments sound like this. So from that and the bass here, I was able to figure out that the key of the track was in D sharp, but the intro was using A sharp as well. So I could find A sharp notes as well as things in D sharp. So what I did was get this orchestra style sound from Scalar and just have it playing one note. And then I found this pad on Splice to give it this. And then I found this little vocal element here to add in at the end of each 8 bars. And then I found this vocal, and then I used one of my Atmos to layer it all and have it keep building for the next 8 bars. And I thought it just sounded way fuller than just one instrument like this. Basically just built on this idea and made it sound way fuller and have way more going on as well. So next I wanted to do a bass line. So I listened to the drop and I basically just figured out it's a respace. So I just went onto my Sim presets and found this one from Chaos, and it sounds pretty much identical. And then all I did was add some sidechain and then add a little reverb, but obviously cutting out the low end in that reverb. And then finally, I needed to add some effects. So in the reference track, there was a lot of white noise. And I don't know if this was just because the AI does that naturally, but I decided to add some white noise and some rain effects. Super quiet in the background though, as you can see, coming in way down here. And then I made a riser on 3x OSC, which is just a built-in plugin in FL Studio. And then you pick the random ones here and then filter it in like this with a low filter on the cutoff and the low, and turn this off. And then I added in another little riser here, and these both stop for the pre-drop when the drums come in, but everything in the instrument stayed because I thought it sounded pretty cool keeping that in, otherwise it just went a bit silent. And then on the drop I just have a down filter, super quiet coming in, and that happens every 8 bars as well. So I'm not going to say that this was easy to do. It definitely took quite a lot of time to figure out all the elements, but with this method it was definitely attainable. And I reckon I'm going to try this a lot more going forward with AI. If I don't have any ideas and I just need to brainstorm some ideas, I think this is a great way to do it. But the only big issue I came across is the vocals. So the way these are sung sounds great, but the issue is they cut out loads. So if I just play it on its own, you can hear. In the vast expanse, where stars ignite. That's definitely not a high enough level to be able to use and release in tracks. So what I did first is I tried to sing, and it sounded like this. In the vast expanse. And it didn't work at all really, it sounded pretty trash. I think my microphone isn't really set up for vocals anyway. That didn't help, and my voice isn't great for singing. So then another thing I tried to do is I tried to put this through a different AI and then apply a different style of voice to that. But again, that didn't really sound great because the voice actually sounds alright. It's just a problem with the actual quality of the vocal itself. So the only real way to get around this would be to either find completely new vocals through Splice or sample packs, or the alternative is to hire someone on Fiverr to do it. Now there's lots of options on Fiverr, If you're just producing for a hobby, or if you're relatively new to producing, it's going to set you back a fair amount of money. I think the cheapest I found online for this is 40 seconds long, so it's not exactly a short vocal line, was like $100. So for me personally, it wasn't worth it because I don't think I'm going to release this track. But if you make an absolute banger and you can't find any vocals to go over it, then it might be worth it. One of the tracks I just released recently, we hired a vocalist, but she only did one line for it, and that was about $40, and that was actually worth it because it ended up sounding amazing. So you just got to pick and choose when you want to go for the 5 vocals. And you've also got to think you might pay this money and it might not work. There's probably like a 50-50 chance it won't sound that good anyway, because it is generally hard to get vocals to fit every time. So it's up to you what you want to do there, if you want to go ahead and hire someone on Fiverr, or sing yourself, or just look for a new vocal sample. But now we've been through everything, let's listen to the original, and then we'll compare it to my version, and we can see which one sounds the best.
Shining so bright, from South Pole to a cosmic beam. In this cosmic dance, we find our seed. In the deepest night, we come alive. With the rhythm of the cosmos we strive. Planets and moons in harmony will be one blend. To the universe will be our souls transcend.
It'll be interesting to see in the comments what you thought of this. Did my track sound better than the AI? Were you surprised by how the AI sounded? Do you think if I actually hired a vocalist it would sound crazy good, or would it just sound average? And if you want all the samples used in this video, make sure to check out Chaos Collection, Drum and Bass Collection. There's a link down below to my website. Everything's on there. And there's also a free music production workshop down below as well. You can sign up completely free and learn everything about music production. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.